At our engagement party, she announced, "I'm keeping my last name, and our kids will have MY family name only." I said, "That's your choice." Then I quietly canceled the party rental for the next day, ended the engagement, and left her standing there with 90 confused guests. Her mother's furious call that night revealed. Original post: I, 32 male, proposed to my girlfriend after 3 years together. We talked about marriage plenty of times, discussed kids, finances, where we wanted to live, all the big stuff. Or so I thought. Quick context about my family name. I'm the last male in my line. My dad passed when I was 19, and my older brother died in a car accident 6 years ago. It's just me, my mom, and my sister now. The family name, continuing, meant something to my mom, especially. Not in a weird traditional way, just it mattered. I'd mentioned this to my fiancée early on. She nodded, said she understood. We never had a formal conversation about what our future kids would be called, because honestly, I assumed we were on the same page. Stupid, I know. But when someone nods and says, "I get it," you tend to believe them. So we're at our engagement party. Her parents rented out the back room of this nice Italian restaurant. About 90 people, family, friends, co-workers. Open bar. The whole thing probably cost her folks around $8,000, which they kept reminding everyone about. Her dad gives a toast. Sweet, standard stuff. Then my fiancée takes the mic. She starts talking about our future, how excited she is, how she can't wait to build a life together. Then she goes, "And I just want to announce something that's really important to me. I've decided I'm keeping my last name after we get married." Okay, fine. Modern choice. I can respect that. But she wasn't done. "And when we have children, they'll have MY family name. Only mine. It's important to me that my family's legacy continues, and I've thought about this a lot." The room went dead quiet. I watched my mom's face crumble. My sister grabbed her hand under the table. My fiancée looked at me with this bright smile, like she expected me to clap or something. Like she'd just announced we were having the wedding in Hawaii, instead of, completely dismissing everything I'd ever shared with her about my family. I took a breath, set down my drink. "That's your choice," I said. Calm, even. She blinked. "I knew you'd understand, babe." I didn't respond. Just pulled out my phone, stepped into the hallway, and called the rental company we'd booked for the next day's brunch gathering. A follow-up thing her parents insisted on. Canceled it. Got the deposit back since it was more than 24 hours notice. Then I walked back in, went straight to my mom and sister, and said, "We're leaving." My fiancée caught my arm. "What are you doing? Where are you going?" "Home. This engagement is over." "What?" I pulled the ring box out of my pocket. I've been carrying it to show her grandmother, who couldn't make it to the original proposal. I set on the table in front of her. "You made a unilateral decision about our future children in front of 90 people without ever discussing it with me. You knew what my family name means to me. You knew about my dad and my brother. And you just announced that none of that matters. I thought you'd be supportive. Of being erased?" "No." I left. My mom and sister followed. Behind me, I could hear her mother already starting damage control, telling guests it was just pre-wedding jitters. The furious call from her mother came at 11:47 p.m. Update 1, 3 days later. So her mother's phone call. Y'all asked about it, and honestly, it revealed a lot. She started with the classic, "How dare you humiliate my daughter in front of everyone?" I was calm, told her exactly what I told my ex. That announcing major life decisions without discussion isn't how partnerships work. Then she said something that made everything click. "You should be grateful. Do you know how many men would kill to marry into our family? Your family name means nothing compared to ours. Your father was a mechanic. Your brother worked at a warehouse. Our family has legacy." I hung up, didn't even respond. See, here's what I didn't mention before. Her family has money. Old money. Her great-grandfather started some manufacturing business that her grandfather sold for millions back in the 80s. They've been living off investments and real estate ever since. Nobody in that family has worked a real job in 2 generations. My dad was a mechanic, best one in the county. People drove hours to have him work on their cars. He put me and my siblings through school, paid off his house, and never asked anyone for anything. My brother worked at that warehouse to support his wife while she finished nursing school. He died driving home from a double shift. Those are my people. That's my legacy. And this woman just called it nothing. The next few days were wild. My ex started the full court press. Texts, calls, showing up at my apartment. First, it was apologetic. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. We can compromise, let's talk. Then it shifted. You're overreacting. It's just a name. Why are you being so dramatic? Then it got nasty. You're going to regret this. No one walks away from me. My family will make sure everyone knows what kind of person you are. I documented everything. Screenshots, timestamps, the works. Didn't respond to any of it. Then came the mutual friends. Oh man, the mutual friends. Her best friend called me to say I was emotionally abusive for leaving the party the way I did. That public humiliation was trauma, and I needed to take accountability. I said, she publicly announced she was erasing my family from our future children, in front of my mother, who lost her husband and son. That's not humiliation. Silence. Then, well, she has a right to her choices, and I have a right to mine. I chose not to marry someone who makes those choices. Goodbye. But here's where it gets interesting. My buddy from college reached out. He's dating someone in her social circle. Apparently, my ex has been telling everyone a very different story. In her version, I abandoned her at the engagement party because I was jealous of her family's success and couldn't handle that she wanted to honor her heritage. She's also been telling people the engagement was already rocky because I was controlling and obsessed with having sons to carry on my name, which I never once said I wanted sons specifically. We talked about having kids, period. Gender was never part of it. The narrative was spreading fast, and I was about to become the villain in a story I didn't write. Update 2, 8 days after the party. Things escalated in a way I genuinely didn't anticipate. Her father showed up at my workplace. I'm an engineer at a consulting firm. Nothing fancy, but steady work, good people. Her dad walked into the lobby and asked the receptionist to call me down for a family matter. I came down expecting, I don't know, maybe an attempt at reconciliation. Wishful thinking. Instead, he handed me an envelope. This is a bill for the engagement party. $8,000 for $100. Since you ruined the event, you'll be paying for it. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. I didn't ruin anything. Your daughter made an announcement I didn't agree with. I made a choice based on that announcement. Neither of those things obligates me to pay for a party you threw. You embarrassed our family. You walked out. You caused a scene. I said 12 words total and left quietly. If there was a scene after that, it wasn't mine. He stepped closer. You're going to pay this, one way or another. Are you threatening me in my workplace lobby right now? Because there are cameras and my receptionist is watching. He went red. Stuffed the envelope in my hands. You'll be hearing from our attorney. Spoiler, I never did, because no attorney is taking that case. But it got better. 3 days later, my ex showed up at my apartment building. Not alone, with her mother, her aunt, and her grandmother. 4 generations of entitlement standing in my parking lot. Her grandmother, who I'd actually liked, sweet old lady, always asked about my mom, was the one who spoke first. Young man, I've come to talk some sense into you. This family has given you an opportunity most men would dream of. My granddaughter is beautiful, educated, and comes from good stock. Your stubbornness is throwing away everything. Good stock, like we were talking about horses. Ma'am, with respect, I loved your granddaughter, but I won't marry someone who publicly announced that my family, my dead father's family, my dead brother's family, doesn't matter enough to include in our children's names. That's not stubbornness. That's self-respect. Her mother cut in. Oh, please, this is about your ego. You can't stand that she's from a better family than you. Better how? Because they had more money? My father built everything he had with his hands. Your family inherited what someone else built. I'm not ashamed of where I come from. The grandmother's face hardened. If you don't marry her, we'll make sure everyone knows you let her on. You used her. We have connections. We can make things very difficult for you. Do what you need to do, but I'm not changing my mind, and I'm not afraid of your connections. They left. Her mother called me white trash as they walked away. Classy. That night, I got an email that nearly made me fall off my couch. It was from her cousin, the one who'd always been quiet at family functions, seemed embarrassed by the rest of them. The email said, "Hey, I I don't know if you'll see this, but I wanted you to know something. That speech my cousin made at the party, she rehearsed it for days in front of my aunt and grandmother. They helped her write it. The whole point was to establish dominance early so you'd know your place in the family. Their words, not mine. I'm sorry you got caught up in this. You deserve better. I read it 3 times. They planned this. It wasn't a spontaneous decision or even a misguided attempt to share something important. It was a deliberate power play designed to put me in my place in front of everyone I cared about. I forwarded the email to my mom. Final update, 2 weeks later. All right, here's where things settled. After the cousin's email, I knew I needed to do something. Not revenge exactly. I'm not interested in burning anyone's life down. But I wasn't going to let them control the narrative either. I wrote a message. Nothing inflammatory, just the truth. Sent it to the mutual friends who'd reached out, to the people who'd been at the party, to anyone who'd heard her version of events. I kept it simple. You may have heard that I abandoned my ex at our engagement party because I was jealous or controlling. Here's what actually happened. She announced, without any prior discussion, that our future children would only have her family's name. My father and brother are both deceased. My family name was important to me, and she knew that. When I expressed that I couldn't marry someone who'd make that decision unilaterally and publicly, I was told by her mother that my family's legacy means nothing. I wish her well, but I won't be portrayed as the villain for having boundaries. Short, factual, no drama. The response was interesting. About half the people didn't respond at all. Expected. People don't like getting involved. But the other half? Turns out a lot of people have been uncomfortable with her family for years. The cousin wasn't the only one who'd noticed the entitlement. One of her coworkers messaged me privately. Honestly, we all knew something like this would happen eventually. She talks about managing you all the time. Like you're a project, not a person. Managing. That word stuck with me. Her family went quiet after about a week. No more visits, no more threats. I think the cousin's email getting forwarded around, I sent it to a few trusted people who'd asked what really happened, made them realize they weren't going to control this story the way they wanted. Then came the twist I genuinely didn't see coming. Her dad called me. Not angry this time. Almost subdued. I want you to know, he said, that we won't be pursuing any legal action. And I'm sorry for coming to your workplace like that. I waited. There had to be more. My wife has strong opinions. She wanted our daughter to marry a certain way, into a certain kind of life. I went along with it because it was easier than fighting. But what happened at that party, that wasn't right. I knew it wasn't right at the time. I should have said something. Why didn't you? Long pause. Because I've spent 30 years not saying things. It's easier. That's a sad way to live. Yet he said, it is. He hung up. I don't know what to do with that conversation. Part of me feels bad for him. Trapped in a family that steamrolls everyone who disagrees. Part of me thinks he made his choices, and feeling sorry for yourself doesn't undo the damage. As for my ex, I heard through the grapevine that she's furious. Not at herself, obviously. At me. At her cousin. At everyone who betrayed her. Apparently, she's convinced I orchestrated some kind of smear campaign against her. I didn't. I just told the truth. She's blocked on everything now. Her family, too, except the cousin, who I actually chat with occasionally. She's the family's black sheep, apparently. Works as a teacher, lives in a small apartment, doesn't touch the family money. She gets it. My mom came over for dinner last weekend. We didn't talk about my ex much. Instead, she told me stories about my dad, ones I'd never heard before. How he proposed to her. How nervous he was when my brother was born. How proud he was when I got into engineering school. He would have hated that family, she said at one point. Yeah, I said. He would have. But he would have been proud of how you handled it. That hit harder than anything else in this whole mess. I'm not dating anyone. Not ready for that yet. But I'm okay. My apartment's quiet. My job is stable. And I don't have to spend holidays pretending to respect people who look down on everything I come from. Some people are asking if I regret it. Walking out like that. Making a decision in the moment that couldn't be undone. No, I don't. I spent 3 years with someone who was apparently managing me the whole time, who rehearsed a speech with her family designed to put me in my place, who knew what my name meant to me and decided it didn't matter. Walking out was the first time in that relationship I actually put myself first. I should have done it sooner. Thanks for reading, everyone. If there's one thing I've learned from this, it's this. Pay attention when someone shows you who they really are. And pay even closer attention when their family does. It'll save you a lot of time.